Hello, hello. Good evening.
I'm Rochelle van Maanen. I'm here as your host, as your moderator. I'm also an agent, creative producer, and we're here to talk about money. How do we earn it? How do we balance work life with our personal convictions and our politics? I want to introduce our panelists for tonight. Vivian Acquah, Sierra Durgaram, yeah, and Hussain. Can you introduce yourselves in your own words?
Vivian Acquah, born and raised here in Amsterdam, Ghanaian roots. The reason why I bring that in is because it's very important for me to address it, because so much of us, we don't have the ability to share our stories, to share our narrative. Other people talk about us because they think they know us, because they have seen a brown person or a black person, or they've seen a queer person and they identify that that one person is representing everybody, right? And I want to make sure that you have your own narrative. And one of the things, I'm neurodivergent, so I do a lot. I also drain myself with doing a lot, but I do a lot. One of the things that I do is, for people to get to know me, I live stream on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I podcast as well, and the way that I try to advocate is to seduce people with food. It's very easy, because food is a natural language, it's a common language that many people speak to. I'm able to address people, I'm able to connect with people, and that's how I use it.
I'm going to you now, Sierra. So you are the founder of Barbario. Yes. A meeting place and a safer space for the BIPOC queer community. How did this place come about?
I worked in the hospitality, the horeca, bar, restaurant scene myself since I was 15. And I always lacked seeing people like me. I rarely ever worked with people that looked and felt like me, or served people that looked and felt like me. So with Barbario, I just sort of threw myself in the deep end. I didn't know what I wanted to study, and I found the space, and I just thought, I want a bar, a meeting space, a hospitality space where people like me can come, can work, can see each other, and can see that we're actually real and we're all living in Amsterdam. So I started with that idea, and I opened it, I threw myself in the deep end, and now so many communities and people and identities can find their space there and can not feel like the odd one out there, even though they might still be. They feel like their normal is accepted, and you can have a discourse about it, and you can express that in any way that you want. So,
Asia, I want to go to you. I'm pronouncing it now in English. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your work?
I am Asia/Ished. So I'm Pakistani first, and I'm also Dutch, I think so. Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. I'm a trans person, a trans woman, and I'm also a Muslim. And I'm the director of the Prisma Group, NGO. And what we do is empowerment, BIPOC, bicultural LGBTQI+. And we're doing that for a long time. So what we do mostly our empowerment meetings. So most of the time we have basically between 10 till 20 persons in Amsterdam. And in Utrecht we have way more, a bigger group. And most of them are undocumented LGBTQI+. And some are also not LGBTQI+. But I don't care, because it's about helping persons. I'm not a gatekeeper about who's queer, gay, and who can get asylum with that or not. So that is what we do. And we are very well known for our guest speakers, because I think it's important that we do sessions like this, because a lot of times, I need to say this, mostly white people only host us for parties. And I mean, okay, besides that it's boring, it's also not, where is the education? Our community and needs a lot of empowerment, education, information. And of course, I do that also because it's really important for me. We even did a meeting Wednesday, and I was like, I will not do this if it's boring for me, because it will definitely be then also boring for you. Because that is also sometimes a problem. It's like Isha that Beach is doing it for herself. But yeah, what is wrong with doing it for myself? Because I do it also for myself. That's why we are so good and so successful.
Yes. Well, I have a lovely question here on my card, which gives me allergies immediately. You know when someone emails you and then says, "Let's have a cup of coffee." Yes, let's have a cup of coffee. Do you have cup of coffees?
Well, in the beginning, I did. There's nothing wrong with drinking a coffee, but the intention that people sometimes have, right? So right now, I do have gatekeeper surveys on my website. I want to be able to know if I am a right match, but I also want to be able to know, are you the right match for me? So I do have a few questions that I ask, and one of the questions that I ask is my minimum, I'm going to share it here, my minimum is 3,200. So if you're not willing to invest in that, of course I do, sometimes I do pro bono like this event, right? But this is because it's the right cause and I believe in the cause as well. But if you are a corporate, like the big companies who get their, you look at the financial reports and you see the outcome that they're getting, they're getting a good turnover. And then you're coming with 150 or 200 euros. No, people, don't accept that. I understand that in the beginning you have to build your stamina, you have to build your record, but eventually you're using all your work experience from the past. You're using your knowledge and you're using all the experiences that you have in different companies. That adds to something. And every time you get the opportunity to increase your value, do that. Don't doubt yourself, and even if you doubt, do it, because you never might know if somebody will say yes. And bump it up a little higher.
Yeah.
I was waiting for
Yeah.
so that you give them a little bit of a discount so that makes them feel happy, right?
Yeah.
I might have missed it, but can you tell us what you actually do?
Yeah, so
Because I have no idea.
I provide training workshops for clients who are willing to invest. What I use is unconventional tools. So I use virtual reality so that people can walk a mile in my shoes or your shoes to see all the challenges that you're facing. I provide bite-sized, so yeah, I'm a neurodivergent, so this is what you get. I use a lot of different tools, but also another thing that I've recently released is cooking back to our roots. I'm the creator, the owner. If you Google it, that's a different way for me to share the narrative of those of the African diaspora within the Netherlands who are creative but working in high-class jobs. This is my way to reclaim our history, but also to see that we have much more in common than you know.
Sierra, how do you navigate running the bar between activism and topics that are political and also earning money? It's a very direct question.
Yeah. You want to do right by your people and you want to stay accessible, but rent keeps upping and your energy bills keep upping. I think what I like to do is I still try to stay accessible for everyone, and I still want everyone also to come in and meet other people and go outside of their bubble. But I do have, for example, a community menu for people of color, Black people, refugees, that have limited funds so that they can also enjoy a drink and they can also have a good time for a reduction, you know? At the same time, the space has to stay open for them to enjoy it as well. So I like to be very transparent in that as well. Like when I do up the prices of my menu, I like to post it on Instagram and just be like, y'all, energy bills are getting higher and higher and we need this place to stay open. I was doing so much for the community and seeing nothing of that back for myself. Right now, I am in a place where I just want the space to exist for its existence. And at the same time, like if queer people spend at the bar, if people of color spend at the bar, that money goes right back into, you know, paying entertainers, paying your DJ, having an exhibition, also by a queer, BIPOC person. So I don't think I'm selling myself short because I'm keeping the money in our community and I'm keeping it turning. And And I think all of us grow with that. I grow with that if my space grows, and I grow if my black and brown queer peers grow, because they can then say my name in the places that they're growing in as well. So no, I think it's all one circle, it's all one dynamic, and with their growth is my growth, and the other way around as well.
Reflecting on your work, what are the biggest obstacles you had to overcome? And then, I mean, specifically financially?
So yeah, of course, it all starts with vision. So having a vision and be clear about it, but also it can be only one vision. So I'm a trans person, so I'm a hijra actually. So hijra means hijr, to always navigate, basically always keep moving. So what I do, I use a lot of strategy. So if one funder says, no, we will not fund this project, I bet I will be back next year or after 2 years. Because why not? Because we have a vision. And so, yeah, use several strategies. Why would you only use one strategy? Because I'm not like one energy, I'm a lot of energies. So that is one thing. Also, when they hire us, when we do educations or something else, we come with the whole community basically. So people are sometimes surprised, but I'm not going to stand there alone. This is something else because I know it's safer. But to protect myself and my mental health and also of the people I bring with me. Yeah, so, and then we go with a lot of diverse people because of course, I'm also privileged in a lot of ways. I'm also not, I know. So I take different kind of person. So yeah, basically that.
Can you elaborate a little bit about the strategies that you use?
So yeah, I think I write basically good, mostly in Dutch because it's the best language I have till now. So that is one thing, to just write good project plans and then copy paste. Yeah.
Work.
Yeah, that's so
I mean,
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you find the subsidies that because we all what I worked at a Rijksfonds. I don't know the English word for that, but I just wanted to find out how those fundings work and how the money is allocated and how the rules are being made, and so I learned that way to write a subsidy request. But how do you find the fundings? Because there are so many. Do you have any tips on that?
So the funniest thing is, of course, you start and it's difficult, and at a certain point, the funders come to you. Basically, you get this. So it happened this year a few times. So it was like Oranje Fonds. So okay, we are doing this about zelfbeschikking. Do you have some projects? Then there is another big fund. They were also like, we are supporting the queer community, and it's also about being sustainable in that way. That is money for 2 years, because most of the times it's only for one year. Yeah. Let me not use effort.
How long did it take before they found you?
Look, I will also find you because yeah, I mean, yeah. Because that is the thing with this country, when you realize your own potential and how you can be and how you can navigate. Yeah. And of course, I use also all the white things they teach me in school. I was here in school. There is a reason I did my bachelor, and it was also important because my parents told me you should educate yourself because otherwise you will also work in a factory, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But yeah, I'm not doing that with this, Niels. Yeah. So
I asked how you navigate the intersection between being queer and neurodivergent and still having a good work balance, because we know with neurodivergent people, we tend to hyperfocus and then we don't stop.
The general answer that I have here is setting your boundaries. The way that I've set my boundaries and created a psychologically safe space is to become a professional, to become an independent worker, because me in the workplace, gaslighting anyone? Isms anyone? You dealing with microaggression, anyone, right? So for me to be able to work as a professional and to create my own boundaries until here, I recently had an interesting conversation with a potential client that wanted to hire me for training, but I've been working with them on the proposal since October. And then they asked me to sign their terms and conditions, which states, and this is a reminder for you to every time read your terms and conditions and ask about the payment terms, because this client had a 60 days payment term. So imagine that I've already been working with them or trying to work with them 2 months, and then you want me to deliver the work in January and get paid in March? That's not equitable. So I stood my ground and said that I've been very patient and very diligent, but since I'm doing this work, I want to stand up for myself and I want to stand up for all the small businesses, all the minority businesses, that it's not equitable to keep a system of 60 days. This client was in the US, and the US has their own flexibilities, but know for sure that within the Netherlands, companies are obliged to pay you within 30 days. If they say something else, Google it, KVK, 30 days, send that to them, and then you have something to say to them, because I believe it's BS to keep your money hostage for longer than 30 days. I work, I prepare, I put a lot of effort and energy in the knowledge that I have, and I don't want to stand for that anymore.
Thank you so much for your elaborate answer. Another tip that I have is to ask for 50% at the start of the project, and also force them to pay after 14 days, not 30, because we can't live like that.
You were talking about being paid within 30 days. I myself, I'm a freelancer. I put on my factura 14 days, pay within 14 days. Still, I've had companies that paid me after 32, 33, longer than that. How should I handle in those situations?
Yeah, also your general agreements, but sometimes it does help. In that case, it does help to have a coffee and say, how can we have a conversation about providing equitable payment terms? In some cases, some companies gave me credit cards, prepaid credit cards to pay myself, and in other cases, there are different routes that people can navigate, but you have to have that conversation one-on-one, saying that this invoice, it's my salary, it's my creativity, it's my everything. Taking that away from me means that I'm not able to pay myself, I'm not able to be creative. So have a conversation with your contact person, and maybe your contact person needs to have a conversation with the purchasing department as well.
I think it's also important because we don't have a lot of conversations about money in our community,
Yes.
especially when you are basically one of the leaders, so having this powerful position. Only what I want to say, because my background is social law, so eigenlijk schuldhulpverlener, basically everybody needs to have savings like €10,000, or at least between 5 till, yes, and it's not a lot, because schuldhulpverleners, people who work with people who cannot pay their bills, they say, because otherwise in 3 months you can be on the street when you cannot pay your rent, and this is so important for basically everybody, even it doesn't matter if you are white, black, whatever we are, but we need to think about savings. And I understand that it's a very capitalistic society, so also of course we want to look good, but also we really need to think about where are we spending the money.
Ik kwam ergens voor een gesprek en ik dacht dat het een kennismakingsgesprek was. En ineens was ik in een gesprek waar de opdrachtgevers me heel precies aan het vragen waren wat ik zou gaan doen voor dat project. En iemand was notities aan het nemen en dan was like, wacht even, maar jullie, wacht even, ho. Notities. En toen dacht ik, wacht even, volgens mij worden jullie betaald om de lessen uit te schrijven. En ik ben nu aan het praten over hoe ik het ga doen. Het voelt als een auditie of zo, terwijl ik dacht, volgens mij weten jullie al wat ik kan en hoe het werkt. En ik had het gevoel dat ze mijn ideeën aan het opschrijven waren. En op een gegeven moment stopte ik abrupt. En ik was zo in shock dat ik eigenlijk pas later kwaad werd. En ik dacht, hoe kan ik mezelf hiervoor of hiertegen beschermen? Dat ik niet in zo'n situatie terechtkom.
What I would do in your case is really set your boundaries straight into what is your assignment, what is not part of your assignment. And anything that has nothing to do with your assignment, you walk away. We are very creative, and too often we share too much, do too much, talk too much, say too much, dance too much, and people steal that from us.
Before you have the meeting, I have email discourse, right? You like chat with the person that wants to talk to you about whatever project. And also because I have to like check myself in how much I'm sharing, I email them before the meeting. These are the points that we're talking about. Is there anything else that you would like to
Make
add?
an agenda.
Make an agenda, and I keep that agenda like handy when we're having the meeting so that we also don't drift off. I'm not wasting my time. We're just talking the tasks at hand and the money at hand, and I don't give them any more than what I need to give, basically.
We're doing this, you should all do this. I wish you money. Do this with your friend, I don't care. Somebody needs to have this conversation about money for you. Then you don't have to do it. It takes thousands of conversations about shit that I would have with whatever client away. They just, no. Do you know what I mean? And she's large kid, and it works.
It's the, how do you say that? The dynamics of Jean-Paul being black and gay and me being me. They treat me like shit, but they treat him worse. So, yeah, it is what it is. So we navigate that together.
Okay, so I keep hearing talk about having savings. That's nicely said and done, not if you're neurodivergent. Me personally, I struggle very much with saving because just like time blindness, money is also just a number. Yeah. So I'm very blinded at how can I navigate with me being neurodivergent.
There are apps. There are apps, and some financial institutions like QINAM allows you to save a percentage of anything that comes in.
Yeah. QINAM is also one of the, well, all banks are problematic, but it's one that's not too problematic, and it allows you to do the BTW opzij, and it allows you to save a percentage of your money. Yeah, my Dunglish is horrible. Are there any one-liner tips that you have to give to the audience about how to save money or anything monetary-wise?
Go to spaces where you are celebrated, or create your own space where you are celebrated.
Yes.
No.
Throw yourself in the deep end. You have more in you than you think you do. Like, you can do way more than you think you can do right now. Literally, just fuck around and find out. Like, seriously. Literally.
And also be fucking critical about yourself, because that is the thing. Look, I don't like to waste my own fucking time, but I also don't like to waste your fucking time. Because that is also the thing in our community. It's also like, oh, you are privileged, you are this, you are that. What are you doing to work on yourself? Because I am that girl who did this a lot of times. I go to all of these fucking conversations with white people, with other people, with so many people, and then they tell me also a lot of times no. And then you struggle and you find another way, because I believe in myself and I believe in all the tactics I have. And look, so my partner is not so good with his money. I mean, just to say something personal. So I'm like, I can help you with that. Of course, also you will have a lot of friends who will help you with this, but also don't be the victim. I mean, of course, all of us are. I'm also definitely. But I cannot sit there and only be the fucking victim, because I want to grow. And I'm sorry to use the effort, but come on, look at your own talents.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here with us in community. Thank you